Both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Matt Skraby wraps up a full day of live and local sports talk.
And that is the whole problem with aliens. You just can't trust them. Occasionally you meet a nice one, but usually they turn out to be some kind of big lizard.
The Skraby Show starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hello and welcome to the final Skraby Show of the week, March 22nd, Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. I don't know if you are like me, but this week has really messed up my entire sleep schedule. And it's okay because it's only one day, but kind of feel like it's kind of like I'm feeling like old age for myself is setting in when one night of not being able to sleep is going to mess up my entire week. And it did. So that's where I'm at in my life now. I have to make sure that I get enough sleep because if I don't, then I'm a zombie like it was yesterday. Thanks for everybody who put up with me yesterday in my zombie-like ways. We're going to be talking about a ton tonight. We're going to be talking about Shohei Ohtani because there is an update. I'm not going to just keep talking about Shohei Ohtani. We're also going to talk about the Aztecs winning, of course. The Arizona coach, Tommy Lloyd, he has a very strange request that he wants to see happen before their next game. So I'll tell you what that is all about in a little bit. It's very strange. But then I asked Chris before he left, and he said he agrees with him 100%, and it's not a complaint. So I'll tell you about that too. And then, you know, the usual Skraby Show stuff going on. We also actually have the top 10 lineups in baseball according to MLB.com. So we'll go over that. And the Oakland A's did something to fans and keep doing something to fans that I think is kind of crazy. So we'll talk about that later on too. And then the daily gripe as always. So let's do the roll call and we're going to go up to the top. Michael, hello. Jacob says Scrabinator's reporting in. Matthew says hello. Dominic says yo Skraby. Maria says hello. Sandman said what's up Skraby. Prolific. Good evening y'all. Robert Williams, conskrabyicies. I can't. I think it was Spy Kids on the YouTube. And if you want to join us on YouTube and join the community and get in on the chat, then just go to YouTube, search 97.3 The Fan, and you'll be able to start it there. And you could also go to Facebook. You could also go to X, 97.3 The Fan SD. But conskrabyicies was started by Spy Kids on YouTube, and it's a really great word. But we will talk about Kate Middleton for a second because there was, you know, an update on everything, and I want people to know that I am not someone who wishes for bad things to happen because I do feel kind of bad for falling into the conskrabyicies with Kate Middleton, and I do feel like I should probably move on from this whole thing because of what she said. So we'll get into that as well. All right. That's that. I think it's time to just get right into what we usually do here in the first segment. And that would be this.
It's time to get caught up on the latest with the news of the day.
All right. Let's start with the Aztecs. They win today over... I keep putting down the wrong pot, but there we go. They win today over University of Alabama, Birmingham, the Blazers, not the Dragons. And at first, I thought the Aztecs were going to run away with this one. And at first, I thought this was going to be no problem win for the Aztecs. And so I got in the car, drove to work, and I was kind of listening to it on the radio. And then I turned it off because I was like, they got this. I will be work at 15, 20 minutes and I'll turn it back on, see what's going on and watch the rest of the game. And the UAB team made a comeback. And I got to say, I was a little nervous. I have to say, because of how things have gone here in the last maybe 6 weeks of the season for the Aztecs. Going down late to a team is usually not a recipe for a win for the Aztecs, but today they were able to do it. Jaden Ledee, just absolutely a monster today. And he is I don't know how he didn't get more talk and play during the season because he is incredible and he did everything for the team today. I mean, I can't say he did everything because Lamont Butler had another amazing game as well. and he was all over the place defensively. He made some big shots as well, and so Lamont Butler stepping up when they needed it. But Jaden Ledee, he went 32 points today for the Aztecs, 3 of top 8 single-game scoring performances in SDSU history. So Jaden Ledee is doing historical things for the Aztecs, and he's going to continue to do historical things. And I'm kind of feeling, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of feeling like the Aztecs are starting to find what they found last year near tournament time. And even though they lost the conference championship, I'm not worried about that. Conference championship tournament. Not worried about that, because now they're in a single elimination tournament and you lose and you go home. And I think that plays in this favor, or it plays in the Aztecs' favor, because they can play without abandon. Don't have to worry about the rest of the regular season. They can just put it all out there and go. But they play, and this is kind of reminding me of last year and how their path went through the NCAA tournament to the national title game. But they're going to play Yale, because Yale beat Auburn today. And Yale, we were watching that game here in studio. Yale looks like a good team, but we were also saying to ourselves in the studio, please don't have the Aztecs play Auburn, because they look very good. And obviously Yale is a good team because they beat Auburn, but Auburn did look like a team that would give the Aztecs trouble. And Mark Ziegler thinks Yale's going to be a team that gives the Aztecs trouble as well. But a 13 seed taking on a 5 seed last year, it was Furman. And I don't care. I'm not going to say it's an asterisk, or I'm not going to say it's lucky that they keep playing these teams. It's just the way that it goes in the NCAA tournament. No one's going to look back and say, well, it's too easy for them to get into the tournament. I don't think anybody's going to really remember, or not get into the tournament, but get through the tournament. Because I don't think anybody's going to remember that the San Diego State had to play 2 13 seeds or whatever it was for last year with Furman, and then now with Yale. But anyway, well, that's on Sunday. They have not announced the time yet, and so we are going to have to wait on that. Now, the next news story is Shohei Ohtani. And Major League Baseball has launched an investigation into Shohei Ohtani and the alleged massive fraud committed by his longtime friend and interpreter Ippei Mizuhara. Of course, we all know that apparently he's stolen upwards of $4.5 million from Ohtani to cover gambling losses. But here's something I found interesting when I was reading some other stuff this morning, kind of breaking down everything. And it was that there was some, you know what? I'm going to start it this way. Do I think Ohtani could be in the dark about all of this? I actually do, because people get swindled by their managers, by people close to them all the time. And so I don't want to say that Ohtani is actually looking the other way or trying to do anything nefarious. He could actually be in the dark about all this, and his friend could have taken advantage of him. And that's very sad, because you think your friend is someone who's going to be there with you, and Ippei was there with him everywhere he went. And so they were even on the field together all the time. I believe Ippei Mizuhara, from what I read this morning, would help him go through scouting reports. And so he was heavily involved in the baseball side. And so if this is something that is actually that Shohei Ohtani had no idea about, then I feel for him, because this is a hard thing to handle and it's putting him in a terrible spot. But apparently this is what happened. So the game happens. Game 1 against the Padres happens, and they win. And then when the Dodgers win, when the Dodgers get back into their locker room, I guess Ippei told the team that there was going to be a bad story coming out. And according to the article that I read, I'm just going to read the actual offering from the article. After Wednesday's season opening game in South Korea, Dodgers officials called a clubhouse meeting and told players a negative story was coming later in the day, a team official said. And Mizuhara did apologize, saying he had a gambling addiction. It was then, the official said, that Ohtani understood for the first time what was happening and began asking questions. I just don't believe he found out right before a team meeting. This seems like a massive thing. And if it's involving Shohei Ohtani and it's involving his money and it's involving illegal gambling, wouldn't you go to him first and kind of prepare him with this news? again, I don't want to go past and put on the tinfoil hat and say that Shohei Ohtani's betting on baseball, but there are certain things that are very strange about this story. And if I was, say, we're doing a team or we're doing a meeting with everybody in the station, and something bad happened, and Adam walked in front of everyone and is just like, "Hey, your best friend just screwed you over and stole $4.5 million." I would have hoped that he would have maybe done that when I wasn't around everybody else, because this is a sensitive story. So I don't really understand why they would have this team meeting. And then the Dodgers fired Ipe so because he's a Dodgers employee, all this other stuff. But what the other thing that I feel is a little strange is that the bookmaker that they're investigating is he said that he saw Shohei Ohtani's name come in on the wire transfers, but because he's an illegal bookmaker, he didn't want to throw Shohei Ohtani under the bus, and he also didn't want to throw himself under the bus. So he just kind of looked the other way, said, "Hey, if I get my money, I get my money. I don't care where it comes from." But the bookmaker himself never met with Ohtani, he says. But what he did do is tell other people that he does process bets for people close to Shohei Ohtani or Shohei Ohtani himself. I'm not sure which one, but he was using that as kind of a sales technique to people. Hey, if Shohei Ohtani trusts me, don't you trust me? And, you know, I think this could end up, and I know that we're all going to maybe think it's a conskraby for the rest of time, but I do think this could end up in just a terrible story of Ohtani getting swindled by his manager. I do. Jacob says sometimes people can be snakes. It's true. Absolutely true. He also said that executive that was stealing from the Jags for about a decade. Yes, that guy was not very smart. He was making like virtual credit cards from the Jaguars and just buying random things. Adam says it happens all the time with managers stealing from clients and the players celebrities don't know. That is true, but $4.5 million is $4.5 million is a lot of money, and I think someone would notice that. I know that he has a lot of money, but I think let me just say like $100 would be an equivalent, I guess, to Shohei's $4.5 million. I would know if $100 was missing, but I'm also not having money come in from every sort of angle. But there you go. That's what I have on Shohei Ohtani. I'm not going to beat it into the ground today because there's no real new information. Final news story of the day, and it's kind of a fun one. It's not actually like a hard-hitting news story, but Arizona coach Tommy Lloyd is very upset with the Delta Center because that's where they're playing their games. I think the Salt Lake, the Utah Jazz play there, but it's in Salt Lake. And he said that he is over the nets and he wants to have them swapped out with broken in nets. So Lloyd said today, I don't think it's hard to find nets where the ball goes through. So go up to the University of Utah, take the nets off the basket because they're probably not stopping there, and bring them here. It's not complicated. Apparently, I asked Chris before he left about this and see if he was complaining or whatever. And Chris agreed with him because Arizona likes to run and they like to go fast after the other team scores. So when the ball's getting held up in the net, it allows the other team to have their defense set. It gives them a couple more seconds, which can be a lot of time in basketball. And so I'm going to trust Chris on this one. And I'm going to say that I think the Arizona coach may be onto something if the nets are indeed not working as they should. But we are talking about nets. It's kind of crazy. Also, I guess there's different basketballs that they've been using, and he had a huge issue with the basketball they're using because it was brand new, even though they had they have a broken in ball that they can use, and a lot of guys were losing the handle on the ball. I didn't know this, but apparently there is no standardized college basketball. Like throughout the entire college basketball scene, there's not just one Wilson ball that everybody has to use, not one singular ball, but a brand of ball that everybody has to use. And so the coach went on to say, how can you play with an Adidas ball one game, a Nike ball the next game, and the Rock in the next tournament, a Spalding in the next tournament? If you're in the Hall of Fame Classic, you're playing with Spalding. If you're in the NCAA tournament, you're playing with Wilson. Come on, I think we can standardize the game a little bit. I think it's common sense. it is common sense, and I don't think he's wrong for that at all. So, Tommy Lloyd, I guess, fixing nets everywhere in the world. Matt Skraby here with you. 97.3 The Fan, The Skraby Show. If you would like to follow me, you can at Matt Skraby, MATTSKRAB as in boy, Y. And if you would like to follow the station at 97.3 The Fan SD, if you would like to watch on YouTube, you can just search 97.3 The Fan on YouTube and you will be able to watch that there. You can see my cheery face, I guess, my new haircut, my little jacket. Yeah, you can see all that if you would like. Just search 97.3 The Fan on YouTube. All right. So we went through the news of the day. When we get back, I'm going to go over some of those predicted top 10 lineups in baseball for the upcoming season. Also, I want to talk about Kate Middleton for a second. So if you don't like that, I'm sorry, but I do feel like I need to say something, and we'll do that when we get back here on the Skraby Show on 97.3 The Fan.
You can listen to San Diego's
Matt Skraby back with you here in the Odyssey Palace, 97.3 The Fan, The Skraby Show. That's about it. I was going to say 97.3 The Fan again, but I decided I wasn't going to after I had already just said it. And we're heading into a nice weekend here, and I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'm going to catch up on sleep. I'm going to try to become better at MLB The Show because I played again last night, and I am completely awful at this game. And so I've been telling people I want to play them on online, and I can't do it yet because I am so bad at this game. I'm not kidding. Like, it is not easy for me for some reason. I haven't played a baseball game since like MLB 2K12 or something like that. So it's been a while since I've played a baseball game, and it's been a while since I've had to learn how to play a baseball game. So it's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a little bit for me to get into it because it is not easy. I think I maybe need to turn down the difficulty level because it might be too high. All right, so let's get into this Kate Middleton thing really quick because I know I spent a lot of time on this show talking about Kate Middleton. I know I've made some jokes about where she is and all that stuff. And now that she's kind of come out, and she hasn't kind of come out, she has come out and said what's going on. And so Kate Middleton announced today that she has cancer, and she had a surgery in January to repair something, and they thought there was no cancer there, but they ended up finding cancer. And so now she is undergoing chemotherapy, and that's where she's been, and that's what is happening behind closed doors. And I want to say this: cancer is the worst. And I know a lot of people out there know that already because cancer doesn't care. And Kate Middleton is one of the most well looked after people on the planet. She has access to the best doctors on the planet, and that's not me playing it up. She can go wherever she wants to get help, but cancer doesn't care. Cancer is going to take you. And I have really been thinking about this ever since I heard about her coming out with this morning, because I want to make it known that I wouldn't have done this if I knew something was really, really wrong with her. And I was just joining in the fun. And I know everybody else was joining in the fun too. But now that the actual news is out and we're learning why she's been out of the public eye, well, number one, I'm not going to be prying anymore because she needs to recover. And I hope the best for her and her family. And she also said in her video that she's had to deal with her children, and she's had to deal with how to tell her children. And that's not easy stuff. This is all really real life stuff. And cancer has affected my family. And I haven't really said this before, but when I was growing up, I lived a couple houses down from my aunt and uncle. And my aunt Teresa was very close to me and very close to my mom, very close to our family. But she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and she ended up living for a good 10 years after she was diagnosed. But it was always something that, it didn't weigh on her family, but in the back of my head, I always knew that at one point she was going to, pass away. And so she was young. She was in her 40s when she passed away from ovarian cancer. She has 3 kids that to this day still miss her very, very much. And I just remember how much it hurt our family that she was taken as soon as she was. And it's the same with Kate Middleton. It's the same with your neighbor. It's the same with everybody. So in the end, if the Royals didn't, let me say this too. The Royals did not help at all with the conspiracy theories and with all of the different conversations that we've had, because they I don't necessarily think that we had to know about her diagnosis. I don't necessarily think that we even really need to know anything going forward, because medical privacy is something that I believe in. And just because you're the Princess of Wales doesn't mean that we all need to know what's going on with your medical records. But I think that if the Royals were able to maybe not send out those pictures that were all photoshopped and saying that she's fine, everything's great. And I understand that they were trying to cover it up, or not cover it up, but they were trying to maybe just lead people astray so that they're not, finding out what's actually happening. But if they weren't allowing all of those rumors to happen, I don't know that we would have gotten as far as we did with the Kate Middleton conspiracies. But Javier says, no matter what the situation is with Kate, the fact that, I thought he was saying me. Okay, never mind. At first, I thought Javier said I was making this political, but I am not making this political. That he's saying that the Royals are making this political. But yeah, Ed McKee, can't believe she had to film a statement. It's awful. I think that was the best way to do it. And when you are the Princess of Wales, there are certain things that you just have to do. You just have to do it because you can't really get around it. You know what you're getting into when you marry into the family. It's not like she didn't know that she was going to be one of the most recognized people in the entire world. So I think the statement was necessary, but going forward, I don't think that pressure and paparazzi and news stories need to happen on a day-to-day basis. Chances, stop blaming the Royals. Why? I mean, they were the ones who put out all those photos, which furthered everybody's worry that she wasn't she was hurt, or she was, I don't even want to say that she had passed away, because she didn't. She's still alive, but those Photoshop photos were so weird. And then they blamed it on her. They said that she was the one who photoshopped them, and she's an amateur photoshopper. So I'm not like necessarily blaming the Royals like they did something horrible, but they didn't handle this well. NY Mike 8 said, thought that was very brave of her to come forward like that, showed normalcy. I agree. I feel like it did show normalcy. And from this point forward, I will not be making Kate Middleton in Royals jokes, because I hope the best for her, and I hope that she gets things figured out, and I hope that she is on a path to recovery at some point, because again, cancer sucks. Cancer is horrible. Chance says, it's like saying sorry to blame the Royals, but if you don't stop, I'm kicking your butt. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I think that people do definitely have ways of furthering a story, but because I read too that the Royals never comment on anything, but they put out all this crazy stuff, and it got the people of England into a tizzy. Anyway, I'm done with Kate Middleton. I hope the best for her and her family, and we will be moving on. Now, the lineup for the top 10 lineups, according to MLB.com, were released this morning, and the Padres are not on the list, which I guess I can understand why they're not in the top 10 lineups of Major League Baseball on this list. But there were a few teams on here that I'm not quite sure why they're on that list. And we'll just go from number 10, Arizona Diamondbacks. And so I thought really, like, Arizona Diamondbacks, they barely made it to the World Series last year. They lost Tommy Pham, et cetera, et cetera. But they did sign some guys to come in, and they signed Jock Peterson. They signed Eugenio Suarez, or they acquired Eugenio Suarez. And so they got some more firepower in their lineup. So they've moved up to 10th. The Twins are number 9. They got some big hitters. The Rays. By the way, whatever happened to Wander Franco? I mean, I generally know what happened to Wander Franco, but it's kind of like he's been erased from baseball forever, which if he did bad things, then he should be released. He should be away from baseball forever, but we haven't really heard much from that either. But the Rays just keep on churning, and apparently they're the 8th best offense in baseball, according to MLB.com. 7 is the Baltimore Orioles, and I can believe that because the Baltimore Orioles have some great bats in their lineup. Adley Rutschman. They'll have Jackson Holiday here whenever he comes up. And the news today is he's not going to be making the opening day roster, but he will probably at some point this season. Number 6, Philadelphia Phillies, which I agree with. I mean, they have Kyle Schwarber. They have Bryce Harper. They got a lot of thumpers in that lineup, so it makes sense for me. Number 5, though, the Yankees. I am not sure why everybody thinks the Yankees are going to be so incredible. Are they going to be good? Yes. But Garrett Cole, he's going to miss a lot of the first part of the season, and who knows what happens and if he's going to have to miss the whole season if his rehab doesn't go according to plan. Yes, they have Juan Soto. Yes, they have Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, but you got to think, I don't really don't really want to make fun of Giancarlo Stanton, but you got to think he's going to miss at least 50 or 60 games at one point during the season. So you got Anthony Rizzo dealing with a lat strain. You got a lot going on with the Yankees, and I'm just not sure why no one is paying attention to all of these injuries that are happening and all of that stuff. It's it seems like they're just really trying to force the Yankees and the Dodgers on this year. Last year I didn't feel like that. Last couple of years I didn't feel like that. NY Mike 8 says Cole is not a part of the lineup. You're right. He's a pitcher. But that was like more of a general statement branching off of what we've been saying throughout the week and weeks, is that they're piling up more and more injuries and people are handing them more and more wins is what I'm trying to say here. It's the Cactus Man. Yankees about to do a 2023 Padres season. I could see that happening. I don't know if it will, but I could see that happening. Number 4 lineup in baseball, according to MLB.com, Texas Rangers. Then you got the Houston Astros. Then you got the Braves, and then you have the Dodgers, which I actually think the Braves should have been ahead of the Dodgers because the Braves still have a lot of the guys from their offense from last year. And when they had that incredible season last year, I think I read that the Braves were the only team to finish with a slug over 500 in baseball history, and they finished at 501. And they have Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna Jr., obviously. They got a lot of guys. Marcell Ozuna, I believe, is still on the team. But I would have put the Braves first. The Dodgers, sure, they got a good lineup, obviously, but I don't know that it's number 1 good. I'm not going to be a hater and say it's not even top 10 because it's definitely top 10. It's definitely top 5, but I don't know about number 1. I don't. Now, there's also this article from Anthony Castrovitz on MLB.com that's right up my alley. Right up my alley, which is one of those things where they make outlandish predictions about the 2024 season. So let's go through these real quick because I think they're kind of fun. Jackson Holliday, according to Anthony Castrovitz, will win the AL MVP award as a rookie. Obviously, he's not going to start with the team, so he's going to have an incredible season if he wants to have a MVP type season as a rookie because he's going to start in AAA. The last 2 or only twice in history has the MVP award been won by a rookie. Ichiro Suzuki did it in 2001 and Fred Lynn did it in 1975. But Jackson Holliday, again, I would like to say that I made an incorrect statement about Jackson Holliday maybe a couple weeks ago. I said that he's not been as great as I've heard, and he's been pretty good so far this spring training, and he's been pretty good for the Orioles. So but I will hang my hat on Alvin Gonzalez saying that Jackson Holliday isn't the Jackson that people should be talking about. It should be Jackson Merrill. The next one I think is going to make everyone happy. The Dodgers are going to miss the postseason, according to Anthony Castrovitz. He says he doesn't actually believe this, but what we saw with the Padres last year and what we saw with the Mets last year, huge payroll teams not making the playoffs, it could happen. It's not that big of a deal, or it's not that far of a stretch that the Dodgers could have a terrible season and miss the playoffs. Is it likely? No. Am I counting on it? No. But it could happen. And these are just crazy predictions from MLB.com. So that's why it's crazy. And that's why they're predictions. The next one would be the Rangers are going to miss the postseason too. And that could actually come true because teams sometimes when they go to the World Series don't have the best season the next year, but they did still, they have Jacob deGrom returning. They still have Max Scherzer. Evan Carter's going to be there as well, and he was pretty good as a rookie last year. So I think that the Rangers are probably still going to make the playoffs, but there's a possibility that they could. The next one on this list is the A's are going to be better than you think. I guess he's saying that they're going to lose 90 games or fewer, which would be crazy. They lost 112 games last year and 102 games the year before. But the A's do have some players that, I think could win some games. Do I think they're going to win 70 games? No, I don't think they're winning 70 games. The last one is division winners will include the Mariners, Phillies, Blue Jays, Royals, and the Pirates. Yes. The Pirates, they say. And so that's basically all of the predictions. Actually, last one. Sorry. Diamondbacks are going to return to the World Series, and they're going to win it this time. Fangraphs, apparently, according to Castro Vince, gives them a 2.2% chance of winning it all. And the National League just had 2 repeat pennant winners going back to 1997, the 2008-09 Phillies and the 17-18 Dodgers. So lots of love for the Diamondbacks this offseason, which they went to the World Series. They should probably have lots of love. Let's go to the chat real quick. Let's see. Actually, I'm just looking at the time. I need to go to break. When we get back, we'll check in with the chat. When we get back, we're also going to talk about what the Oakland A's did to some of their fans. And then I'm going to make a statement about Mark Wahlberg movies. So we'll do that when we get back on the Skraby Show on 97.3 The Fan.
Quinn and
My goodness, I just said all this stuff into the microphone and it wasn't on again. Again. Thank you for listening to the Skraby Show, because you get stupid voices like that here. And the final segment of the week for 97.3 The Fan. I'm bummed that we're not going to be able to get the broadcast on Sunday from FanFest, but that's okay. Apparently, I've been looking at the weather, and there is like 2 inches of rain and thunder and lightning coming. So everybody stay safe over the weekend, please. Do not try to ford a river like I did a couple weeks ago. I tried to ford a river when it was not a river. It was going over the road, and the water was a little bit higher than I thought it was going to be. And I went through, thought I was going to get swept away. So don't ford any rivers. This isn't Oregon Trail. I want to put up some comments real quick. And Javier says, I feel that the Royals will be the surprise team of the year like the Orioles were last year. That's funny you say that, because the Royals were actually, they were players polled as what team is going to be the most surprising team in baseball this year, and players said that the Royals were, because they have Bobby Witt Jr., signed a bunch of Padres. They have some vets on that team that if they catch themselves in the right place at the right time, I think that the Royals could actually really do something. Anthony says this about Soto: if Yanks choke big time, does that confirm Soto is a locker room problem? And I say no. I don't. I say no for sure, because there's more than just Juan Soto on a baseball team, and I'm not going to go as far to say it's fully his fault if something goes awry with the Yankees this year. I'm not going to say it's all of his fault. I think Garrett Cole being injured might have something to do with that. Also, if they miss the playoffs and they don't play well, there's lots that can go wrong for the Yankees this year. So I don't think that the Yankees are actually going to, or I don't think Juan Soto will be the problem if the Yankees actually fail this year. Now, I told you before the break that the Oakland A's did something to their fans and continue to do something to their fans, and it's weak, in my opinion. As you know, I am not a fan of the owner of the A's, John Fisher. He really just wants to go to Las Vegas and leave Oakland forever. And it just doesn't really seem like he cares much about his fans at all. And that's a bad look. It's a really bad look. I think we know something about that here in San Diego, about a professional sports team trying to leave and not really caring about their fans at all. So we understand it. And that's why I like to talk about it here, because most of the audience 100% understands how you would feel if you were an A's fan. Well, the stadium that they're doing in Las Vegas, and then the renderings that we saw from Las Vegas, the Las Vegas stadium, I mean, they still don't have funding. They still don't have a lot of things that are going to be in place, that need to be in place for the A's to move to Vegas and be, ready to go. So there's still work to be done there. But here is what they did. And it's basically the equivalent of equivalent of talking about things but not wanting to hear anybody's response. Or it's like kind of like you just put I don't want to talk to you, and cover your ears and close your eyes as you're walking through something. That's what I think it seems like, because they put up tweets, and when you try to reply, it tells you that you can't reply because the Athletics need to mention you for a reply. Now, this isn't really new. I mean, teams have done this before, but the A's are doing this all the time. And I understand why they're doing it, but this is very tone deaf. I think this is very, again, like I said, it's them covering their eyes and yelling, "Don't talk to me," as you walk through a room or something like that. Because, yes, A's fans are going to say mean things, but when you're trying to move their team, I don't understand what you think or what you want them to say. They're going to be mad. It's just a part of the deal of you wanting to move. So don't do this to fans and tell them they can't reply. And I do understand that the people that are running the social media, who are seeing all these hurtful replies, I think these people probably don't want to see them either. But just to straight up not allow comments on the tweet is weak and lame, in my opinion. I think that's the quickest way to telling your fan base you really do not care one bit if you attend a game this year. So if I'm an Oakland A fan, I think I would seriously consider not going to games. Now, I saw people last year not go to games, but then they had these like sit-in, or they didn't have sit-ins, but they had these fan groups that would organize a protest, and it would be at the game, and it just isn't going to help because unfortunately the A's and John Fisher in Major League Baseball are just plowing straight ahead into this Vegas thing, but not allowing them to reply to tweets is just another reason why A's fans should not buy tickets this year. Dominic says nobody is a fan of John Fisher, not even people in Las Vegas. That is true. That is true. Let's see. C20 says, "What's up, Skraby?" Hello, C20. We're in the final 5 minutes of the show here. Let me go around and update everybody on what's going on with March Madness. We know that the Aztecs are going to be playing Yale on Sunday. We still do not know a time as of maybe 15 minutes ago. So we will keep checking on that and see if we can find a time. I don't think it's going to come down before the end of the show, but you never know. But here's what happened today. So San Diego State beat UAB 69-65. Purdue is up 74-48 over Grambling State with 2:30 left to go in the game there. Alabama struggled out the gate, but they're fine. They're beating the College of Charleston 80-58 right now. Now, Sammy Lev's favorite game of the day. If you didn't hear us earlier, he was angry that Chris didn't mention anything about Northwestern beating FAU 77-65 in overtime. Baylor blew out Colgate 92-67. A quick story and embarrassing story for me. So when I was in high school, we had the college fair. And so I was going around looking at different colleges, and I saw Colgate, and I asked my mom, "You go to college to learn how to make toothpaste?" She said, "No, it's not a toothpaste school." She probably wanted to slap me on the back of the head, but Colgate is not a toothpaste school, everybody. Baylor beat them, though, 92-67. Marquette beat Western Kentucky 87-69. Clemson destroyed New Mexico 77-56. UConn destroyed Stetson 91-52. Yale beat Auburn 78-76. Here's another great game. Colorado over Florida 102-100 in regulation. Florida was down a bunch. They came back. They tied it up. Colorado makes a basket with like 1 second to go. Florida had to throw up a prayer, and they didn't make it, so they lose. Colorado moves on. Texas A&M beats Nebraska 98-83. Duke beats Vermont 64-47. And then we still got a couple games left tonight to tip off, which is TCU and Utah State. That's at 7:25 p.m. And then Grand Canyon in St. Mary's, 7:30 p.m. So those are the games today. I guess a little bit more. Oh, Houston just started. Houston just started against Longwood, 5-0 Houston. James Madison leading Wisconsin right now, 3-0, 30 seconds into the game. So not as many upsets. Today were more upsets. You know, one thing I haven't seen enough of this tournament, buzzer beaters. I haven't seen many buzzer beaters. I don't even know if there has been a buzzer beater yet. I know that teams have made shots with like 1 second, 2 seconds, and the other team gets a chance to get the shot off. But I don't know that we've seen like an actual buzzer beater, kind of like Lamont Butler did last year for the Aztecs against FAU. I want to see one of those before the weekend's out, everybody. And McKee 23, Colgate isn't easy to get into either. Colgate sounds like an Ivy League school. I don't know that it's an Ivy League school. Let me see. Is Colgate an Ivy League school? Colgate is not a member of the Ivy Leagues, but where is Colgate? I think it's in New York. Pretty sure it's in New York, but there it is. Hamilton, New York. Colgate University. 1819 it was founded. Anyway, no one really needs to know all those facts. Before we get into the Daily Gripe, I watched a movie, I think it was over the weekend, and I had a very strong thought about it, and it's Mark Wahlberg. It's a Mark Wahlberg movie. It's on Netflix right now. It's older. And I even was like, am I crazy enough to say this on the radio and, at least have people still listen? And I said, yes, I am crazy enough because I went through the rankings and I see this movie is there in the top 10 of some rankings of Mark Wahlberg movies. But I think that Fear might be his best movie. The one with Reese Witherspoon and how Mark Wahlberg is in high school with Reese Witherspoon. They start dating and he becomes a crazy stalker, and they end up like, I don't want to give it away. I know the movie's been out for a while, but Mark Wahlberg is a psycho in that movie. And it's one of Reese Witherspoon's first movies. And Mark Wahlberg does a really great job of playing a really psychotic guy. And Fear might be one of my favorite Mark Wahlberg movies, or actually, it might be the favorite Mark Wahlberg movie. He has great ones. Three Kings. What else am I blanking on right now? He has so many movies that I'm blanking on right now. Three Kings is the one that came to mind, but Three Kings is a great one. That was made a long time ago as well. All right. Final segment final daily gripe of the week.
What's annoying Skraby today? Let's find out. It's time for the Daily Gripe.
Anthony says that Mark Wahlberg wasn't acting in Fear. That's why he was so great at it. Dominic says Boogie Nights. I know people might think that's funny, but Boogie Nights is a great movie. It is a really good movie. If you've never watched it, it's not what you think. It's a pretty darn good movie, I gotta say. All right, daily gripe is this. So sometimes I make sometimes I cook dinner. Sometimes I meal prep for the week so that I can just eat, everything that SD Fat Loss is telling me to eat. And here's my daily gripe. And it's something different from dogs and driving. Recipe websites that have the recipe buried somewhere in the text. Like, I don't need to know the backstory of your family recipe. I don't need to know why Grandma June made her meatloaf a certain way back in 1822. I don't need it. And then when you're looking through it, it's like the recipe is a part of the article. I want listed instructions. I want, number 1, preheat the oven. Number 2, put the salt in. Number 3, make the, mix it together. I just need direction, and I don't need it to be buried amongst your family secrets. All right, that's it. Thanks, everybody, for joining me this week. We'll be back on Monday. Tony Wood Jr. will be back on Monday. We'll get ready for the Padres starting their regular season or actual home opener on Thursday. So have a good weekend, everybody. Stay safe. Appreciate you all.